What we're witnessing isn't just another diplomatic spat. It's a countdown to something unprecedented. Trump just gave Moscow 50 days to surrender its position. But here's what the mainstream media won't tell you. The Kremlin's response has changed everything. Intelligence sources reveal Putin didn't even flinch at the ultimatum. No emergency meetings, no panic, just silence. And that silence speaks volumes about what's really happening behind the scenes. Let me break this down for you. While Washington throws around threats like confetti, Moscow is executing a plan decades in the making. Former intelligence officials warn, Russia's potential response won't be limited to strongly worded letters. We're looking at what Pentagon insiders call an irrecoverable geopolitical situation. But here's the twist that should worry everyone. The sanctions threat, Trump's favorite weapon, has lost its sting. The Russian economy didn't just survive previous sanctions, it adapted. And now, with China standing firmly beside Moscow, we're witnessing the birth of a new economic alliance that could shake the global financial system to its core. Think about it. While Western leaders play checkers with sanctions and ultimatums, Moscow and Beijing are playing a completely different game. They're building an alternative financial system, one that could make Western sanctions obsolete overnight. The most disturbing part? Our sources indicate that Russian military advances continue uninterrupted. They're not just ignoring the ultimatum, they're accelerating their timeline. Every hour brings new reports of strategic movements that mainstream media either misses or chooses to ignore. What's really at stake here isn't just about territorial disputes. It's about the complete reorganization of global power. And if you think this won't affect your daily life, you're dangerously mistaken. The markets are already responding, though few are connecting the dots. Watch closely. The real question isn't whether Russia will comply with the ultimatum. The question is, what happens when they don't? Are you seeing unusual military movements in your area? The pattern is becoming clearer by the day. The diplomatic chess match has taken an unexpected turn, revealing the true nature of Western posturing. While Trump issues ultimatums with a 50-day deadline, the response from Moscow speaks volumes: complete strategic calm. This isn't just confidence, it's the posture of a power that knows its position. Let's zoom out for a moment. What we're witnessing isn't just about a regional conflict, it's a fundamental reshaping of global power dynamics. The Western neighbor, that former Soviet republic, has become a stage for a much larger performance. But here's what the mainstream media won't tell you. The sanctions narrative is crumbling. Despite years of economic warfare, Russia's economy hasn't just survived, it's adapted. While European citizens struggle with heating bills and skyrocketing inflation, Russian markets show remarkable resilience. The West's financial weapons have lost their edge, and insiders know it. But here's where it gets interesting. Sources close to Trump's inner circle reveal a startling perspective. He privately views Russia's success as inevitable. Not a question of if, but when. This begs the question, why issue ultimatums you don't believe in? It's theater, pure and simple, designed for Western audiences and media consumption. Meanwhile, China's strategic partnership with Russia continues to strengthen, forming what analysts fear could become an unbreakable economic alliance. Beijing's support effectively nullifies any remaining bite in Western sanctions, creating a new power axis that's reshaping global trade routes. European nations are being asked to increase defense spending, effectively paying for their own fears. Germany and France are reluctantly acknowledging this new reality, but their populations are growing weary of economic sacrifices for a conflict that seems increasingly distant from their daily concerns. But here's what's truly concerning the power brokers in Washington. The dollar's dominance is showing cracks. As more nations seek alternatives to swift and dollar-based trade, we're witnessing the early stages of a monetary revolution that could. Let me pause here because what happens next is absolutely crucial. The geopolitical chessboard reveals fascinating moves. Brussels frantically reviews budget articles while Germany contemplates military expenses, and France tries to appear militant without dropping its baguette. Meanwhile, Russia methodically strengthens its advance. Pokrovsk, Konstantinovka, Kupiansk. These aren't just abstract points on a map anymore, but concrete pressure directions. No hysteria, no loud declarations. Just systematic work. The Kremlin doesn't give interviews or organize diplomatic flash mobs. It doesn't blow smoke, it advances. So who's really playing games here? Washington, threatening sanctions while knowing it won't enforce them. The politically turbulent area, caught between Trump, Europe, and its exhausted forces? Or Moscow, simply doing what it deems necessary, despite barking from across the ocean? Those 50 days Trump mentioned, that's indeed a long time, especially when some advance while others remain clutching empty speeches. In diplomatic circles, restraint is customary, particularly when you're Xi Jinping receiving Lavrov, while European bureaucrats anxiously bite their nails in embassy corridors. Xi, characteristically, avoided fanfare. He simply led Lavrov into the hall, seated him, and spoke words that sound soft but echo like thunder in NATO headquarters. Deepening trust, supporting each other, building a new type of international relations. Ursula von der Leyen's eye must have twitched in Brussels. This marks Lavrov's third meeting with Chinese counterparts in a week. Twice with Foreign Minister Wang, once with Xi himself. Such attention to Russia's foreign ministry isn't mere courtesy. It's at minimum a signal, at maximum the launch of an alliance upgrade, precisely when needed. The region of instability finds itself increasingly isolated, while Moscow strengthens its position through strategic partnerships rather than empty threats. The global power dynamic shifts visibly, leaving Western capitals scrambling to adjust their strategies. What will happen to the economy next month? Share your opinion. Maybe we'll figure it out together. In recent days, we're witnessing an intriguing shift in global power dynamics. Trump has ramped up his rhetoric, threatening Russia with new sanctions, while simultaneously targeting China and anyone else who doesn't fall in line with Washington's agenda. But Beijing's response has left European diplomats adjusting their glasses in disbelief. The Chinese, known for their subtle diplomacy, have made a masterful move. While maintaining their characteristic smile and offering tea, they're quietly reshaping the world map. President Xi's recent statement wasn't just diplomatic pleasantry. It marked a profound shift in global alignments. Russia and China aren't merely strategic partners anymore. They've become family in their shared global dissatisfaction. Their stance against illegal sanctions isn't just rhetoric. It's becoming a family motto, backed by concrete support in international structures. We're looking at coordinated positions and potential industrial cooperation. Think semiconductors, drones, electronics. You get the picture. In this new configuration, the conflict in the disputed territory has unexpectedly become a Chinese asset. Not a tragedy or moral drama, but a cold, pragmatic foundation. While Washington obsessively pours money into the conflict zone and draws up new sanctions, Beijing sees a golden window of opportunity. The Taiwan question has been diplomatically shelved. America's distracted, Europe's confused, and Russia's operating in combat mode while deeply integrated with Chinese economics. This is where the real geopolitical cuisine begins. China, like a master chef, isn't rushing. They're carefully adding ingredients. A dash of loyalty here, a pinch of dual-use supplies there, and a healthy portion of trade support. Meanwhile, Washington's analysts are sweating over their reports. Nothing obvious, yet the front holds, sanctions fail, and Chinese containers keep flowing. The EU's experiencing an anxiety attack in its diplomatic circles. Ursula von der Leyen emerges demanding explanations from China. But Beijing maintains its peaceful smile while fundamentally altering the global chessboard. What do you think about these developments? Leave your point of view in the comments. I believe my viewers are thoughtful and smart. I want to hear your take. The diplomatic dance between Brussels and Beijing has taken an interesting turn. The EU's attempts to pressure China into distancing itself from Russia's military economy reflect a fundamental misunderstanding of global dynamics. They're treating Beijing like a schoolchild who can be scolded for bad behavior, but China responds with the calm authority of a professor, firmly stating that Russia's defeat is not an option. Brussels' complaints about dumping, hidden subsidies, and Chinese market dominance fall on deaf ears in Beijing. When Ursula von der Leyen laments about Chinese magnates strangling European industry, the Chinese likely view it as amusing statistics, confirmation they're doing everything right. The rare earth metals situation particularly highlights this dynamic. Without these materials, there's no wind turbines, electric vehicles, rockets, or iPhones. China's careful export restrictions have sent Europe into a ritual dance of complaints, panic reports, and threats. But experience shows that when China sets its course, European protest notes barely register. The upcoming EU-China summit, originally planned for July 24-25, might now be shortened to just one day. Why? Because there's little left to discuss. China has made its position clear and sees no need to explain why it won't abandon Moscow. The alliance with Russia isn't a whim. It's insurance against American hysteria. Beijing is playing the long game. They don't panic, provoke, or create drama. They simply continue their work, welcoming Lavrov, toasting to global equilibrium, and quietly architecting a new security framework that includes Moscow, but excludes Brussels. The more the EU demands China stop cooperating with Russia, the more it demonstrates its misunderstanding of the New World Order taking shape. China's strategic patience contrasts sharply with Western emotional responses. While Europe frantically waves diplomatic papers, Beijing calmly strengthens its position, knowing that economic reality speaks louder than political declarations. What do you think about the current situation between China and the EU? Leave your answer in the comments. The more Washington tries to pressure Beijing, the stronger its friendship with Moscow becomes. Trump still believes he can threaten everyone, but his sanctions threats now sound like an empty can rolling down a Chinese sidewalk, loud but ineffective. China has already integrated the conflict into its strategy and independently decides its alignments based on pragmatic interests. Those in Europe still hoping that Xi will yield to pressure should focus on securing their energy supplies while they can. If anyone still believes in the fairy tale of a unified Western front defending democracy in the disputed territory, welcome to reality, where illusions end and hard calculations begin. The payment counter operates on a strict schedule, gives no credit, no change, and sometimes stays silent like a State Department spokesperson asked about who's funding this grand venture. An awkward pause follows, leaving one question hanging. Is anyone still actually paying for all this? The U.S., the premier vendor of freedom packaged as air defense systems, claims to support global peace, especially when it can be sold for hard currency. Weapons? No problem. Just don't touch Pentagon's reserves and prepare cash up front. Delivery costs extra. No bonus points. No special offers. America doesn't give gifts anymore. It invests. In allies, in chaos, in exporting democracy. Take your pick at checkout. Then there's Germany, the boring but principled bookkeeper of the Western military shop. What patriot? Where did they send it? Who authorized it? Show us the receipts first. Trump boldly reported that Berlin is halfway to transferring air defense systems to the country marked 404. But in reality, German efficiency transforms into endless bureaucracy when it comes to military aid. Every shell, every bullet must have perfect documentation. Do you agree with what's happening? Tell us what you think. The European response to American military proposals reveals some fascinating dynamics. Germany's defense ministry's reaction was particularly telling. They're essentially saying, "We know nothing, confirm nothing, and any discussions are just discussions about future discussions." Their timeline stretches into months ahead, with a subtle suggestion to talk to Trump for quicker results, preferably with a check in hand. France, true to its character, has crafted its own unique response. Paris won't touch American equipment, not because of cost, but because it's simply not French enough. Any available funds will strictly support domestic production. They'd rather engineer their own defense systems than invest in foreign ones. The country bordering the Russian Federation's requests? Let the British handle it, or the Germans. Anyone but Paris. The British contribution is an exercise in bureaucratic finesse. They've announced a historic agreement to produce 5,000 anti-aircraft missiles. Impressive until you read the fine print. 19 years. That's roughly 263 missiles per year, assuming no strikes, elections, or rain delays. And according to officials, the disputed territory between Russia and the West will foot the bill. Classic British charity, like tea with milk, seemingly smooth but leaves an odd aftertaste. Italy, Hungary, and the Czech Republic took the direct approach. No dramatic press conferences about values and solidarity, just a clear no. We won't buy American weapons for the former Soviet Republic. Some might call it sabotage, others might appreciate the rare honesty. At least they're not promising deliveries for the next generation. The State Department maintains its characteristic style. We can't discuss what we're discussing. A masterclass in Western diplomatic communication that says everything while saying nothing at all. The Western response pattern shows clear fragmentation in unity, revealing individual national interests trumping collective action. This raises serious questions about the effectiveness of current alliance structures. What do you think about these European responses? Leave your point of view in the comments. I believe my viewers are thoughtful and smart, and I want to hear your take. The Pentagon's recent diplomatic dance reveals more questions than answers. While Washington speaks of potential European funding schemes for military aid to the conflict zone, the reality on the ground tells a different story. Trump's bold declarations meet confused shrugs from actual implementers, a perfect metaphor for NATO's current state. The alliance, proudly claiming to defend every inch of territory, now haggles over each bolt and screw. These merchants of democracy advertise their support in bold letters, but the fine print tells the real story. Delivery times subject to change, results not guaranteed. The former Soviet Republic dreams of defense while Europe calculates VAT on ammunition. The conflict rages daily, yet the Western coalition operates like an outdated supermarket. No returns accepted. Expiration dates tied to Trump's mood swings. Same vendors, longer receipts, fewer willing buyers. The politically turbulent area still waits for someone to foot the bill for the next salvation package. Germany counts losses. France protects its market. Britain drafts plans reaching to 2043. While America, like a seasoned auctioneer, presents new lots. One air defense system. Reasonable price, no warranty. Payment in 13 installments possible. Customer trust not included. Meanwhile, Russia works with precision and method. The country at a crossroads lacks adequate air defense, and Western enthusiasm wanes further. New drone attack records might become a matter of days, not weeks. 1,000 drones daily seems possible, while 1,000 approvals for each Patriot system become certain. Two facts emerge. The good news: the disputed territory between Russia and the West still has allies. The bad news? Most of them are economists. What do you think about the current event? Leave your answer in the comments.